Right, in this video, folks, we're going to look at bringing all of these different slices of our character together into the scene and start rigging the character up so we can animate it. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is whenever you're importing a character or an enemy or whatever it might be, you need to create a new empty game object, and this is a really nice, neat way of doing it. I wouldn't just drag this in. I would be creating a new empty game object and working within that game object, because that's going to be better from a scripting point of view. So if I do right click, create empty, and over on your inspector you want to call this the name of your character or your enemy. It's called dino. Okay, so we've got an empty game object now, and then within that game object we're going to do right click, create empty, and we're going to call this dino rig, or whatever you want to call that, the rig of your character. And you can see that that is inside my game object. It's like I grouped it inside it. Now this is the bit where we drag in these individual parts of our body. So we're going to drag it in and we're going to put it in the rig. Okay, so if you just do all that, and at the minute you're not going to see them because they're behind my background, but I'm just going to drag these all in, making sure I'm dropping it on the rig. Okay, so we've got them all in there now, and then on this we need to make sure, you see all these different elements, they are there but they're behind the background. I'm going to put those on a new sorting layer. Okay, so this will, you see we've got my background layers, foreground layers. Let's add another layer and call this character. That'll do for now. You could put it on your foreground layer, it's not a big issue. We want to make sure that this is at the front, so that should be at the bottom, I think. If we just go back and then click on that and click on character, and yeah, there you go, you can start to bring those forward. So if we put those on, let's just change that all to character, and they're all going to jump in front for us. Okay, good. So all of our elements are in front now in the scene, and if we move these using W to move them, we can start seeing where they are. So we've got the right arm, the right leg, the left leg, the left arm, and the head. Okay, so we need to rearrange this and put it together. So this is just a case of dragging these to where they need to be. So this is the left arm, so it's got to be on the left side. This is the right arm, so we want this on the right side. And you'll notice that, can you see that we've got issues with the ordering there? They're all stacked up, it's not looking quite right. So this is where you can change the order in the layer. So what do we want to be at the back? Well, we want the left arm to be at the back, so let's call that layer 1, hit enter. We want the left leg to be at the back, so I've clicked on that left leg, hit 1, okay. The next layer should be the torso, so we'll hit 2, and you can see that that's moved that in front. Right arm, that needs to be in front of everything, so 3. Right leg, again, that needs to be in front of everything, and we're starting to get a bit more sense now. Head, that can be on 3 as well, and now we've laid it up in a way that makes more sense. So that's really good. Maybe I'll just do a bit of tweaking and get this working how I want it. So maybe this right leg needs to come up. This left leg could do with coming up as well. Maybe it can just be positioned like here. The right arm, maybe I'll move that there. Left arm, move that there, and then the head. We'll just move it down a little bit. Okay, cool. Now you'll notice that if I want to rotate these, you know how we move the pivot points on the editor. At the minute, they're still rotating in the center, and that's no use for us. We want to use the pivot points that we created. We moved these all up to where they needed to be. So if you click on pivot instead of center, that means now that it's going to use the pivot point that you created. So we can start to rotate these legs and different elements from the pivot point that we created, which is good, it's handy. So all of those should be moving how we want them to now. Okay, Great. Now, the only thing that we've got to do, let's say we want to move the torso and we want all of the other elements to go with it. At the minute, can you see that if I wanted to like have him coming up and like growl or roar, his head and his arms don't move. So we need to make those children of this parent. So in order to do that, it's really simple. You have to drag them onto the thing that you want to move with it. So the torso is the main thing. We want the head to go with it. So the head should be attached to the torso. So we drag it on. And now, when I move the torso, the head is going to go with it as well. Okay. Same for the arms. They need to be attached to the torso. So I can still move that arm, separately if I want. But then if I click the torso and move that, the arm goes with it as well. So very, very good way to work. Very clean way to work. The right leg needs to go on the torso too. Oops, sorry. I wanted to put the right arm on the torso. And let's just click the torso now. So that's all moving, all separately. I might just move these legs a little bit because I'm still not quite happy with how they are positioned. Move a bit further back. Okay. And the beauty of all this is that you can move the whole thing, because you've created that separate game object. You can move all these and position them where you want, but still be able to go in and make adjustments and animate and move all the different elements separately, whilst being able to move the whole creature or character. Okay, great. So, have you noticed yet that I've accidentally cut the tail off when I exported it from Photoshop? So maybe just be careful when you do that. I'm not too fussed for now because this is just demonstration, but I was aware. Okay, great. So we've got our character in there now. He's nice and set up correctly. We've got a rig on him, which is brilliant, and we've got a bit of a skeleton going on as well. So the torso and all these things are parented correctly, so I can make adjustments if I want. Okay, fantastic. So in the next video, we'll look at applying some animation to this.